Because companies are When I was 10-ish years old, I played a lot of Forza, but I was never any good at racing, so I spent most of my time driving against the traffic. And before you comment, no, I was not that annoying kid in every lobby. I didn't have Xbox Live. I just liked the crashes and having cars flying through the air, but over the years I noticed that the quality of crashes became worse and worse, even though everything else has become better. And it's not for lack of demand. Kids are glued to their iPads watching BeamNG crash compilations, but still larger titles like Forza and Gran Turismo barely show any damage except for some scratches. In earlier games like Motorsport 3, bumpers would fly off and frames would bend if you crashed hard enough. Some people argue that it's because the graphics we have today that you wouldn't be able to simulate realistic crashes in 4K, but like, come on, BeamNG can do it in VR, well, almost, but 4K easily anyway. And I'm not asking for Forza to simulate the whole drivetrain and suspension, just bending the cars a bit. You could do that on a 360 when GTA 5 came out.
What's wrong with her now? Good to go.
Honestly, kind of crazy to think that GTA 5 ran on a 360. But the big difference between Forza and Gran Turismo and BeamNG and GTA is that they don't have real cars. When a car company licenses out their models, they see it more as an advertising opportunity than anything else. As you can imagine, it's not great branding to have your product shown on fire in a crash compilation. And as you know, some companies take branding very seriously. Remember when Ferrari sued a guy for posting an Instagram picture of his new shoes on the hood of his car? This kind of brand control extends beyond social media and into gaming, where car manufacturers impose strict rules to ensure their vehicles are portrayed as pristine and desirable and untouchable, even in virtual worlds. These restrictions mean fewer opportunities for creative crash physics or customization options that might alter the car's ideal image. Car manufacturers' obsession with controlling their image doesn't stop at crash physics. It also affects how cars can be customized or modified in games. In the early 2000s, games like Need for Speed Underground celebrated customizations. Body kits, neon lights and wild paint jobs were the norm. But today, many games with licensed cars offer only minimal customization. Why? Because manufacturers don't want players distorting their carefully crafted image. While a bumper delete might appeal to players, it doesn't really align with Lamborghini's brand identity. This strict control also extends to how cars perform in games. In Gran Turismo, manufacturers worked directly with developers to ensure their cars handled and sounded as realistic as possible. While that level of involvement creates incredible attention to detail, it also limits what developers can do creatively. For instance, Ferrari isn't allowing their cars to have body kits anymore, and Rolls-Royce pulled out altogether, not wanting their boats to be shown next to sports cars. And the thing is, if only one car company is okay with good damage models, it looks really weird when one car gets heavily damaged while the other one doesn't. So if just one big brand sets strict guidelines, those guidelines will probably get used for all the brands. I just think it's dumb. Nobody who has the money to buy Ferrari is going to think worse of the company because when they drove at 200 miles per hour directly into a wall, it got destroyed. But people who grew up playing the game and driving a Ferrari will definitely be more likely to buy one, or at least buy their merch, which I know is more important to them. Games are the modern equivalent of posters in a kid's bedroom, so just let us crash and modify the cars however we want. In games with only cup cars, they usually do allow more damage because it's more normal to see an actual racing car get destroyed. It's just a part of racing. But I think it's just as usual to see a wrecked supercar when you open Instagram or TikTok. At least for the next 5 days. At the end of the day, the reason crash physics have gotten worse isn't because of technology or a lack of player interest. It's because the industry has become more focused on preserving corporate branding than delivering truly immersive experiences. The shift from celebrating chaos and creativity like in Need for Speed or even in Burnout Paradise to showcasing pristine, untouchable cars has taken away some of the joy and authenticity of racing games. But this isn't just about games. It's about how much control corporations now exert over the media we consume. Whether it's enforcing strict rules on how their cars can be used in games, or suing influencers over how their products are used, or pulling out altogether like Rolls-Royce. The message is clear. The brand comes first, the experience is only second. So what's the solution? Maybe it's games like BeamNG.drive, where realism and fun aren't shackled by licensing agreements. Or maybe it's time for developers and players to push back and demand more freedom to play with the things we love, even if that means seeing our favorite cars getting a little banged up. After all, isn't that the part of the thrill of driving? The risk, the chaos, the imperfections. If you found yourself watching a few of my videos, please consider subscribing. And if you want to see me play some games, maybe give me a follow on Twitch. It's in the description. Thank you.